Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving this. Okay, you see M5 written here. It has nothing to do with the ballistic missile from BMW, but this is manual 5. Okay, this is the Tata Safari's key. The new Tata Safari, which is actually based on the Harrier. But before we start, let me share some useful information with you guys. Did you know that one major aspect that increases the on-road cost of your new car is the insurance you buy from the dealer? I would highly recommend you to get a quote for your new car from Acco Insurance on acco.com and save up to 50% because they don't charge any commission. It's completely online, very easy to purchase within a few minutes and involves zero paperwork. If you're looking to purchase insurance for your new or old car, head directly to acco.com. And back to the vlog. As you can see, the design of this car is identical to the Harrier, but certain changes have been done. It's given a lot of chrome, of course, for the premium appeal. But before that, let's open the engine bay right away. Oh my god, this is heavy. It says Cryotech 170 right there. You can hear the diesel motor. There is insulation right there as well. But you know what? There are no hydraulic struts. And there are a lot of changes at the front for the premium appeal. First and foremost, this is the Humanity line, which is obviously finished in chrome. It gets this tri-arrow treatment on the grille, which I don't like much, to be honest. I like the ones on the Harrier. The Harrier's grille just feels so much better. The design of the Harrier at the front feels better because it doesn't have chrome, and I personally don't like chrome, but this definitely looks more premium and makes it stand out from other SUVs at this price range because of that tri-arrow treatment, which is actually quite an eye catcher as such if you like those things. Anyways, the main placement of the lights is here. Of course, these are HID xenon lights, quite powerful at night, but halogen of course, and this is the fog lamp. Now this is the LED DRL, which also converts into the indicator, which I can show you on the other side. Meanwhile, okay, inside you see the treatment. Well, why do we have a lion inside? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Now, when you come to the side, you realize that it has a lot of Discovery Sport and Mercedes GLS in it in the design language. They have actually given this treatment to kind of make it replicate to the original Safari. Actually not, because the name actually came later. It's because they wanted to give a panoramic roof and they had to give a step-up design to increase the roof line so that they could put a panoramic roof, and they've done a very nice job of hiding all that girth by putting this roof rail here. Yeah. And Safari written right there. It actually makes me think that I am looking at a Discovery Sport or a Mercedes GLS from certain angles, because that is how the design is. Slightly revised rear end as well. You get this sort of a silver finish with fake exhaust, of course. Faisal Khan's finger of truth. Yeah, nothing in there because the real exhaust happens to be below. You can see the real exhaust. Well, I honestly can't. Let me remove my glasses. There it is. Spare wheel is 16-incher, same width of 235, but it's a 16-incher and it's not an alloy. Safari is written here in the same font as, of course, the Harrier, but the rear end design is sort of a Harrier, of course, but I don't know why they have given this treatment again here. Can you see that? So certain, Easter eggs on the car. This is the reverse parking camera, of course. Meanwhile, the wheelbase of the Safari is the same as the Harrier, and the wheels are bigger by 1 inch, but the alloy wheel design is similar, which is kind of disappointing. They should have given a different alloy wheel design. 235/60/18 is the size of the tire. Meanwhile, we've got this black finishing. In fact, this black cladding runs throughout the car. So in terms of road presence, this has plenty of it. Let's open the boot right away. Okay, you press a button and there the boot opens. Doesn't get a power tailgate. I've actually reclined the last row. Once reclined, there's plenty of space on offer. But when it's up, there's no space on offer. Okay, these are the AC controls for the third row. AC vent placement is such that it kind of feels claustrophobic for the person who's sitting in the third row. Meanwhile, here you've got 2 USB charging sockets. There's a cup holder here. Same is the case here as well. And there's storage space. Yeah, so kind of practical there. You can just pull it like this and put back the seat. Just going to pull it again, and there you can pull back the seat. As you can see, there is absolutely no storage space, with of course the 3 rows up, and legroom and knee room seems to be decent enough, but we'll get there in a bit. Let's close this. A power tailgate would have been a nice touch, but it's actually quite light, this thing. The tailgate is very light. Now it's going to honk because the key is in my pocket. The doors kind of open 82.75 degrees, so Tata Altroz still is ahead in that regard. Jokes aside, let's just keep the key inside. Now, how do you get to the rear seat? This seat does not tumble. You have to walk in through here, which means that for the adults, rather for elderly, it is a bit of an effort, but here we are. Now there isn't much legroom on offer because obviously the seat is quite behind, but you can obviously compromise with the middle row legroom to increase the legroom at the rear, and then it could be decent enough. But for kids it's good enough. Seat's actually comfortable, but again you sit in a knees up position, because of which under thigh support isn't that great. Doesn't feel claustrophobic. Headroom is not really great for a person as tall as me, but the seats are very comfortable as such. I think I'll have to move the seat ahead to get some space here. Okay, let's get out from here. Now let me do one thing. Let me push the seat. Okay, things are getting stuck right there. Let me push the seat ahead and there. Now there is no legroom on offer in the second row, but in the third row there is plenty of legroom on offer. Nobody would be able to sit here at least, but then you can obviously come to a mutual agreement between the second row passenger to get some legroom at least. Knee room is good. Scooped out seat back, no magazine holders here, but getting in and out can be a bit of a task. However, in the 7-seater version, obviously the seats tumble because you can't walk in through the center. We're going to push this back all the way. There is good amount of legroom on offer. Yeah, under thigh support is also good enough. Headroom is plenty in spite of a panoramic roof, which again is impressive. Door pockets are massive. There's a compartment here. There's a proper bottle holder there, and quality levels are also fantastic. Shuts with a proper third. AC vents here in the center. No AC vents here. Yeah, they are just on the B pillar, that is. Massive panoramic roof, brings in a lot of airy feeling. And the armrest doesn't get much of an adjust because if you put it in the center position, it's going to recline backwards, of course. And it's a very slim armrest, but it gets this felt lining. So when you're not using it, it's kind of smooth and nice. Good amount of legroom on offer. Slight hump in the center, but no one's sitting here, so you really don't care. But when you get 7-seater version, you would obviously care about it. There's storage space here as well. And okay, there are USB charging sockets, 2 of them, but they are kind of out of sight. Scooped out seat back, magazine holders. Seat belt does not get the height adjust function at the front, and there's a light placement on the top along with a hook and a handle. Same is the case on that side as well. Window area is actually large enough. Now because they're given this sort of white upholstery, it will tend to get dirty really quickly. Now someone has done a child lock on this door, which is very stupid, or whoever's done it, because I'm stuck right now. So we're going to get out from there. Hopefully there's no child lock there. Yeah, that works. I'm finding it a bit of a struggle today to move around this car because it is huge, but you know, the challenges of moving around a 7-seater is something I wasn't used to earlier. Now you get this chrome lining, obviously request sensor as well. Doors do open wide. You've got good amount of storage space in the front door pockets as well. Love the finishing here, leather of course, but this is already getting dirty. Yeah, this is already getting dirty. Light colors don't go well, of course, in the Indian climate. These are the controls for the power windows. They're very old switchgear, which you have seen in a lot of Tata cars. Obviously, you get the electric adjust here. Front seats are very comfortable. Hi Nurin, what's up? How do you like the car? Love it. Nah, I knew it. You would say that. So I didn't even let you talk. That's kind of funny. So there is not a proper dead pedal as such. No buttons here. There could have been a slight storage space. Engine start button is placed right there. Let's get inside. Now everything looks like they have it, other than the fact that the colors are slightly different. So slightly darker shade here. Of course, you get the humanity line, which is finished in sort of a chrome or silver, whatever you want to call it. Now the big change here is the fact that that cumbersome handbrake is gone. You get an electric parking brake. You also get the auto hold function, and no, this is not an air purifier, it's a car perfume. So you've got cup holders in the center here. Below the front center armrest, there's storage space along with 2 USB charging sockets along with a 12-volt charging socket as well. The storage space here, there's a USB charging socket along with a aux port. Meanwhile, inside the glove box, there's good amount of space because there's a light, and of course there are 2 compartments. Meanwhile, below the front center armrest, there's a cooling function too. So there is a light. Actually, there are 2 lights along with a mirror. Same is the case here as well. No, there is none. There is no mirror here, which is quite surprising and shocking to me. And there's of course a light on the top. There are 3 switches here. You know why there are 3? One is obviously to tilt the sunroof, one is to open it, and one is to open the sun blind, which is a nice touch because then you don't get confused what you're doing. Auto dimming inside rear view mirror. This is an 8.8 inch screen, which is nice, but you know what, it could have been faster. You obviously get a driver rear view monitor. The reverse parking camera, which we'll get into right away. Here we get into reverse. It could have been better in terms of its display. Obviously, it's got guidelines which are adaptive, and then you have multiple modes as well. You can get a zoom view and whatnot. Meanwhile, let's get out of reverse. It's got Apple CarPlay. It has got Android Auto connectivity. There's voice commands too, and there's something known as themes inside this car. So well, let's do one thing. Let's play an audio right away. Tu haan kar. Audio quality is actually fantastic. It's a JBL system which has 320 watts. It has got 9 speakers actually. There are 4 speakers, 4 tweeters, 1 subwoofer and an external amplifier as well. And obviously audio quality is just phenomenal inside this car. We've got this piano black treatment which is prone to fingerprints of course. Lot of buttons here, front fog, rear fog, actually whatever way that is. And this is for the drive mode selector, this is for eco mode, this is for sport mode, and obviously default mode is city. Hazard light button, plenty of buttons here as well. This is obviously for the audio system. These are the controls for the air conditioning. This is for the off-road modes basically. This is for normal, this is for wet mode, and this is for rough mode. This is for ESP, this is for downhill assist. The gear lever feels nice to hold, and I love the soft treatment. I love the seats, leather seats of course. These are actually the controls for the audio system. These are the controls for the cruise control. Steering feels nice to hold. These are the controls for the headlights, automatic headlights. It also gets automatic wipers. Wipers work really well. Plenty of spray on offer, but the spray could have been a little bit higher. It's kind of spraying very low as such. Now you get a 7-inch screen here in the instrument cluster. The speedometer is fully analog. And I love the way this instrument cluster has been done, although a full digital unit would have been much appreciated inside this car. Now in order to browse through this, it's very easy. There's a power and torque meter here as well. You can just browse through here. Plenty of information on offer. Obviously it gets a tire pressure monitor as well. Yeah, distance to empty, and all the information you want, you get it right here. Now it also gets something known as IRA connected car tech, which gets all the features you get in connected car, obviously like geofencing and whatnot, which will make it to the Harrier soon. The steering wheel obviously gets adjustment both for reach as well as rake. But you know what? Tata Motors could have offered slightly more features like ventilated seats, a wireless charger, and probably, since I'm nitpicking, they could have also offered a powered tailgate. But how's the car to drive? Let's get going straight away. But before we get going, let me show you a couple of more interesting features. Firstly, it gets this soft touch material on the dashboard, which is quite impressive. The seat which I'm sitting on right now obviously gets a 6-way adjustment, electric adjustment. And this sunroof has a lot of other features. First and foremost, if you open the sunroof and leave it open and lock the car, it will actually close the sunroof. It's known as global close feature. It's got anti-pinch as well, so if your hand is stuck inside, it will actually retract the sunroof, and in case it rains, it will close the sunroof. Well, supremely impressive features. You see the sunroof is big enough, brings in a lot of airy feeling inside the cabin. What you're going to do is we are going to turn off the car so I can show you the global close feature right away. So here is the button to turn off the car. Getting outside, there's actually an umbrella holder right there. So yes, very practical in terms of storage spaces. So what you're going to do, you're going to lock the car right away. Here I lock the car, and there the sunroof also closes. Obviously the mirrors too retract when you turn off the car. Now it's got something known as a boss mode, which again I'll show you right away. The boss mode is really very impressive because it's something which you see in Skoda Superb. What it does is it helps you increase the legroom at the rear. How does it help do that? Simple enough. You press this button and then you can push the seat ahead, all the way ahead, and there you see the legroom has improved massively. Let me push this back. Yeah, this is actually known as the boss mode. Wow, there is so much space on offer, so this can be a chauffeur driven car as well. Anyways, let's start driving right away. Alright, we are all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, turning off traction control, and then getting into sport mode. But sport mode won't get activated if we are having the ESP turned off, which is kind of weird, which beats the whole point of turning off the ESP, because I want to turn it off in sport mode only. We turn off the driver rear view monitor, handbrake is down into first gear, revving the motor, hazard light off, and off we go. Well, the punch from the motor is so good that even with the traction control on, rather ESP on, you can see the wheels were actually spinning. That is the level of grunt on offer. Now, of course, this is the 2-liter Cryotech diesel engine, which by the way is nothing but the Fiat sourced, or rather the Jeep sourced multi-jet diesel engine, which is a 2-liter unit, produces 170 horsepower, and the torque output is 350 Newton meters, which comes in between 1750 to 2500 RPM. Motor is really very punchy, feels more refined than the Harrier BS6, but yes, gets quite vocal post 3000 RPM. So in the top end, you can hear a lot inside the cabin. However, it feels very refined lower down, and the dieselness can only be felt once you push it harder and faster. The motor is actually a joy because it offers punchy performance, in spite of the fact that this car actually weighs around 100 kgs more than the Harrier on which it is actually based on. But when we compare to the original Safari, the Varicore 400, that one produces 400 Newton meters of torque. This one produces 350 Newton meters of torque. That one produces 156 PS of power. This one obviously 170, but obviously the original Safari, the OG Safari, the Safari on a body on frame platform is heavier. This is lighter in comparison. This is based on the Land Rover D8 platform known as the Omega Arc. Actually, it is derived from the Land Rover platform with the same front suspension, but the rear is a twist blade, which is actually tuned by Lotus Engineering. And of course, because of the platform around the corners, this car feels fantastic in spite of its weight. It actually doesn't weigh too much as such. It does weigh too much actually, to be honest. But still, when compared to the Safari, the original, it doesn't weigh too much. But you know what? This car has nothing to do with the OG Safari. That said, the monocoque Safari is so much more easier in the city to drive because obviously it is monocoque based. However, it still uses a hydraulic power steering, which is actually heavy. At low speeds it's not that heavy, but still it's on the heavier side, and at higher speeds it does weigh up pretty well. In fact, it offers good amount of high speed stability, feel and feedback too. This is a car which is very much fun to drive as well, and that is obviously because of the Omega Arc. Now, you see, performance is immediate. Even if you're picking the car in a higher gear, it pulls really nicely and strongly. Drivability is good, not the best because there is lag lower down. But what is the other issue is that this gearbox is not the smoothest shifting. You really have to give it a push and a shove at times. But the bigger issue is the clutch, which is on the heavier side. You really have to put in some effort to operate the clutch of the new Safari. The ride quality is absolutely sensational. It's only on really bad potholes now that the car gets ruffled, but for the most part, it glides through the worst of roads. That is the level of suspension tunability on this car. It's tuned to almost near perfection, and the best part is that it doesn't compromise on the handling of the car because the ride and handling balance is really good. Obviously, it has got more body roll than the Harrier, but that said, you won't really care much about it because this is a car you wouldn't push with 7 passengers on board or even 6 passengers on board. But if you feel the need to do that as well, the Safari won't let you down. It feels really very composed. It has plenty of grip on offer as well. And of course, because of the various drive modes, you can choose and pick how much power output you want at your disposal. Of course, in sport mode, it feels the most punchy, but in eco mode, it kind of feels sluggish. City is the best balance between both. Red line comes in at 5000 RPM. Yeah, I told you the gearbox could have been smoother shifting. You have to put in actually quite a bit of an effort. Now the top speed of this car is 170 kilometers per hour, but take it from me, you would actually be able to do 185 kilometers per hour on the speedometer, because that is a level of punch from this engine is absolutely sensational. Meanwhile, fuel economy is somewhere between 10 to 14 kilometers per liter, again depending on your driving style, and you have a 50-liter fuel tank as well. Overall NVH levels are brilliant. You can't hear much of the road noise, but some amount of vibrations can be felt inside the cabin. Now, like I was telling you, ride quality is brilliant. It's only over really bad potholes that you can feel something inside, but for the most part you can't. Now, obviously the suspension is on the stiffer side, slightly on the stiffer side. The chassis is obviously very rigid because of the Omega Arc, but it is sensational. Power goes to the front wheel. It's a front wheel drive. The original Safari was obviously 4-wheel drive, had the option of 4x4, but otherwise you could get one with 4x2, but power was channeled to the rear wheels. This is a more practical version of the Safari, something which is much easier to drive, much easier to live with, and without a doubt, something which offers decent mileage but great performance. Zero to 100 kilometers per hour should take around 11.5 seconds, which is actually decently quick. But let's just put the car into 6th gear. Now I'm into 6th gear. The car is doing around 100 kilometers per hour and the RPM meter is ticking around 2000 RPM. So right now it's very calm. You can't hear much of the engine. Get into the gas, because of that lag, it takes some time to respond, but once it does, it pulls really nicely and strongly as well. So I see this Safari has to be a much evolved version of the original. The original obviously had more character. This one feels a lot more practical, a car you would buy both with your head and heart. Because obviously it has a lot of performance on offer and has a feel-good factor to great build quality as well. And compared to the original Safari, things have changed dramatically. But yes, purists will still miss the OG because, of course, this can't go off-road, which the original Safari can. just imagine the level of punch. Even with ESP, it just spins its wheels. That is the level of performance on offer, which is absolutely insane. Now, of course, plenty of variants are available with the Harrier. I was going to say Harrier Pro Max, but with the new Safari, you can get into 6-seater or 7-seater. 6-seater obviously gets captain seats. But you know what? What is the big differentiator here? It's the fact that this car is just a more practical version of the Harrier. It even gets rear disc brakes, which improves the braking performance without a doubt. Brakes just feel so much more sure-footed here. If you want to take the road less traveled, this is where the Safari might come into play, because that's the reason why I've stalled the car. Yeah, that's the reason they've used a tagline, reclaim your life. And I think it's because of COVID they decided to bring the Safari name back, because that's when you can reclaim your life. Over bad roads, it just feels so composed, which is quite staggering. The Harrier's price is between 17 to 24.9 lakh rupees, somewhere around that ballpark. On-road Mumbai, of course. This car is going to cost around 1.5 lakhs more than the Harrier, which means that the car I'm driving right now should cost around 25 lakhs on-road Mumbai. And the Harrier obviously costs 23.27 lakhs for the same trim, the same manual top end variant. For the automatic, you pay a premium of rupees 1.63 lakhs, which seems justified because it brings in the practicality. Slightly slower, but who really cares? Okay, I don't know what is happening. Midtown madness is happening. People are going all over the place. Abhi bhai, right lane mein rakhna apna. Now, what I really like about this platform now is it is so engaging. You can push the car hard around corners. It just maintains its line beautifully well, punches hard, and then you see the pull is fantastic as well. Just see the way it goes. It feels indestructible. It feels, oh my god, look at this car go. Stellar. Absolutely love the way this car drives. It has so much composure, it has so much punch, and of course it doesn't feel hairy at all. And that is the reason why you would love the Harrier and the Safari, of course, because these are cars which are actually very much fun to drive, in spite of the fact that they're SUVs which are quite big, although 4-wheel drive should be offered, which might happen in the near future. So guys, before we end, let me put into first gear yet again. Here we are into first gear, revving the motor. Listen to this. So guys, this is my vlog of the Tata Safari. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye.